Hey, we've talked or we've asked pretty much everything there is to ask, but I mean, for you, and you probably answered this 6 times already, 7 times. What was the single biggest hurdle that relocation posed for you in doing your job this year?
Well, I think there's no doubt that the biggest one was the COVID battle we found ourselves in.
Yeah, I guess, but
I don't know that has to do with relocation or just COVID, but
yeah, yeah, I guess really just the relocation outside of the COVID. Was there anything like what? Just the logistics of trying to do your job in a different environment and in a foreign environment, basically.
again, I think it's all mostly protocol and COVID related, Mike. It wasn't like we didn't have the facilities or whatever. It was just the time restrictions that you could spend together, how you were spending them together, the testing that prevented, um, the way you would probably normally like to operate. I think was the main issues that I saw.
When you look back on the season, is it a fair indication, or can it be a fair indication of the team you had and the results that came through in the end?
Um, I mean, I would like to think that this team could have been a heck of a lot better than this, the way it ends up. I mean, you look at the way it ends up, and, I don't, I've mentioned this 100 times that we were playing pretty good basketball until the COVID hit, and we kind of spun out of control from there and never really recovered.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, you got a lot of questions coming up. Appreciate the time all year. Enjoy the off season.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Yeah.
Right,
have a good one. Talk to you soon.
Next question goes to Doug Smith from the Toronto Star.
Good morning, Nicholas. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Doug. How are you?
Not bad. You all rested after the end of the season? You get a good night's sleep and everything?
Yeah, not bad.
That's good. Hey, we've talked to a couple of players who talked about, getting away and sort of recharging and taking some time to mentally decompress from a very hard season. You're going into a very extremely difficult summer with the national team, the draft prep, the summer league, perhaps Tokyo. How are you going to recharge your batteries, and when are you going to get away from this to get that break we all need?
Right after this press conference is over, Doug. I'm gonna go on vacation. That's what it's it. No, I mean pretty soon, Doug. I've certainly got a window here to get away, and we'll certainly use it. I don't really look at the summer as long and daunting. I think that it could be, but if it is, then that's going to be a really good thing. I think we got 2.5, 3 weeks with Canada.
Yeah.
Unless we win. And if we win, the extra month or 6 weeks we put in certainly going to be worth it, right? So I think I look at it that way, that I'm gonna recharge here for about a month or a little less than that, but close. Pour everything I can into those 3 weeks with Canada, and then we'll see where we are.
Do you kind of thrive on workload?
Yeah, I think so. I like to keep busy, Doug, I think, for sure.
And you can learn stuff coaching the Canadian team that can help you in the NBA, and stuff that you've done in the NBA can help you with the Canadian team as well?
I believe so. I mean, it's just another group of guys to try to mold into chemistry and roles and figure out what, schemes and things work for that group. And I think that always keeps you learning things and et cetera. Yeah.
Great. Thanks very much, Nick. Enjoy a couple of weeks off, and we'll see you in Victoria probably.
Okay. All right. Awesome, Doug. Thank you.
Next question goes to Eric Kareen from The Athletic.
Hey, Nick. Good morning. Before I forget, just thanks for all your time this year, and hopefully by October, Zoom calls are in the past. Hopefully.
No kidding. No kidding.
I assume have you had your exit interviews with the players yet, or are those ongoing?
Some have had some. Some are coming up here after this as well.
When you look back on on your season as a coach, is there anything? I mean, we've talked so much about the external factors, and don't get me wrong, they were a huge part of what happened. Is there anything you wish like you had done earlier or not done? And anything you might change from your approach over the 5 months?
I mean, Eric, there's, almost after every game, there's things I wish I would have done different, right? And but not like, I think in the way you're asking, like philosophically or really broad based things that need a drastic change or any of that kind of stuff. Not really. I mean, I think that, again, I wasn't the best circumstances. It wasn't easy, blah, blah, blah. But, you got to hang in there and keep doing it. And I think we did that. I think the coaching staff was excellent this year in the work that they did. So no, not, I mean, always evaluating, always learning some things, but I don't have any broad sweeping things that I'm concerned about.
What last one? When you look at the roster and how you guys played, is there something that you look at as like this group needs, whether it's internal or external, to get better at X this off season?
Well, I think that there was some things that we found out. I don't really want to get that specific on them, but I think there were some things we found out defensively that didn't enable us to kind of be who we were. But then I think we got back to that. I think we were executing and doing all the things we kind of like to do and normally do at a certain point in the season. But no, I mean, listen, I want us to be able to guard first and foremost, Eric. I don't think you're playing championship basketball unless you're able to do that. I mean, you can play well and you can run up and down and trade baskets and all that stuff and still look and feel okay, but that's not really what I'm into. I think I'm into creating a championship level team, and that starts defensively. So the size, the speed, the quickness, the desire, and the connectivity is what I'm concerned with roster wise.
Sounds good. See you virtually in Victoria.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take care.
Next question goes to Michael Grange from Sportsnet.
Hey, Nick. Just echoing everyone else. Thanks again for all your patience.
Yep. Thank you.
How deeply will you get engaged in the draft process? Clearly you're going to be in position to get a really good player, and so what does your role? Where does it come in with that?
I would say very deep, Michael. My role is to evaluate talent and give my opinion. And just like everybody else, you do the best you can to look into the future on what you think a guy may be 5 years from now too, right? So it's an inexact science, and all you really have on this stuff is your opinion and your experience to kind of meld together, and then you got to give it, and that's what I'll do.
And are you starting from scratch, or have you been kind of like already kind of brushing up on whatever the prospects might be in that range?
No, I mean I'm probably Michael waiting for let's see, how would I put this? I think I wouldn't start from scratch and just start randomly doing it on my own. I think they'll kind of narrow it down and give me a whole group. I mean, it'll be an extensive list. We got a lot of guys, so I'll get familiar here fairly shortly and start looking at film. And obviously when the workouts happen, I'll be as present as I can, right? If I'm not working for Canada, I will be here watching them. And if I am working for Canada, I'll have to watch them video.
And a big part of your organization is Masai, and he got you you guys reached an extension before this season. Do you have any indication based on conversations you've had about where he may be leaning in his future?
Well, I'll let him answer those questions. All I know is um, well, I think we make a really good team, and I hope that team stays intact, and I enjoy working for him every day.
Sounds good. Take care of yourself. Hope you get a good break.
Thanks, Michael.
Going next to Josh Lewenberg from TSN.
Hey, Nick. Obviously, we don't know what things are going to look like in 5 months from now, and this isn't in your control or in a lot of people's control, but how hopeful are you that you guys will be able to start next season in Toronto, and how disappointed would you be if that can't happen?
I'm very hopeful, and I'd be very, very, very disappointed.
I assume you guys can't take it down to the wire like you did last year, or I'm not even sure that you'd want to leave it up to the end of the off season there. Do you have any indication of when sort of a decision or an answer has to be made?
I don't. I'm sure there is. Josh, I'm sure, the NBA needs to know a lot of things sooner rather than later as far as scheduling television, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not aware of that at this particular time. But I'm sure Masai for sure. Bobby, Teresa, I don't know. Probably your better bet getting some of those timelines down than me.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for everything this season. And hope you can enjoy some well-deserved, much-needed downtime before things ramp up again.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Next question is going to Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times.
I can't hear you, Eduardo.
Ed, are you there?
Hi, Nick.
Hey, hi. There you go.
Hey.
Yep.
Thanks for all your help this year. Obviously, I appreciate it. Obviously, like you said, this Tampa experience, it I know it probably didn't feel like home, just in the sense because it wasn't Toronto, but you guys did bring NBA basketball to the Tampa Bay area for the first time, and obviously the season didn't work out the way it did. But is there any kind of message to like maybe the fans who did embrace you here and supported you here in Tampa?
Well, first of all, the staff and everybody we were around working day to day and kind of behind the scenes and all that stuff were absolutely fantastic. I mean, really good people, very, very welcoming, very good at their jobs. Really, really awesome, and did make it feel almost, like we were right at home, second home for sure. And they were fantastic. And, I don't think, the COVID and the protocols and all the stuff that playing a some with fans and stopping with no fans and then having a few back. I don't think there's any, that was going on everywhere. Right. So there's no real, it was too bad that I know we wouldn't have been here unless it was for all those things, but it's too bad we didn't get a chance to like really open the doors and kind of bring the house, let the fans really experience it, because I think that we appreciate the fans that did come, but from what I could tell, it was nothing at all like being at an NBA game when the house is full, right? Or when there's a really good crowd and that feeds to the next person next to you and the row next to you. It feeds the energy, kind of creates a momentum and makes it really, you come in the arena, you see all these people and you just look around and all of a sudden everybody lifts up. So that was too bad. I think that people didn't get to experience that. But I think you probably talked to enough people to understand how much everybody really liked it down here, and everybody got accustomed real quick and enjoyed our time here.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we're going to move to the lightning round. If everybody could keep it to one question, we'll get through as many of these as we can. We'll start off with WFLA in Tampa.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, Coach. Quick question for you. I wanted to kind of piggyback on that last question in regards to the Tampa experience. Can you kind of touch on, maybe the pros and cons specifically of what you like so much about the Tampa Bay area. And I guess maybe the ending part of that question is, have you heard word if you guys are going to be able to go back to Canada and play? And again, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, listen, there was a lot of pros, and I would not put any cons on the experience here, other than, like I keep saying, the testing protocols, COVID, put us all in a little different rhythm than we were used to, practice-wise and all that stuff. But we had everything we needed: great facilities, offices, weight rooms, training rooms, film rooms, beautiful arena. Obviously, everybody loved the weather, right? we weren't really used to weather like that, and everybody loved that. I know lots of good suntans and things like that, and lots of sunglasses and all that stuff. I think a few people even got on the golf course a little bit. And again, like I said, I think there wasn't a whole lot of interaction with the community because of the protocols, right? We weren't allowed to do a whole lot. I think we did the best we could, and some of the players did a few things, but our interaction with the people we did interact with was first class, professional, and very welcoming. So for that, we're mighty thankful.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
Next question goes to Steve Simmons from the Toronto Sun.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Steve.
You're looking like I haven't seen you in a while. Is that?
I like it. Glasses, beard.
I don't get out much.
I like the look. Yeah.
Coaches I've spoken to in the past have talked about the fact they learn a lot more from losing than they do from winning. So at the end of this season, what do you know that you didn't know before?
Well, I think that this kind of season put some fuel in your tank. That's for sure, right? That will take. Again, I kind of already mentioned this, Stephen. I think there was some moments where I didn't like to look at us defensively this year at times. I think I didn't mind it later on. I think we got back to some of that stuff. So making that and continuing to make that who we're going to be, I think that it comes at the sacrifice of some other things, right? I think if you're going to focus and prioritize that, then some other things may not be as good as you want them to. But I don't think you get to championship level talk or championship level play if you're not first and foremost a really good defensive team. Did I know that already? Yeah. Did this reconfirm it? Yes, it did. So I think it gets pushed back up a little. If it wasn't already at the top of your list, it gets put in capital letters or bold or underlined or whatever, that's what you want to be. And I think that that has to go from player 1 to player 17. That's another thing I think we got to understand.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks,
Next
Steve.
question.
Good to see you.
We're going to go to another Stephen Lung from Sportsnet.
Hi, Nick. I'm the guy who looks like a ghost because the sun is right in my eyes.
Were you at Tampa?
No, just like I like my computer's just situated right in front of a giant, like my balcony window, basically.
That's okay. Yeah, enjoy it. I can still see you, and I believe that it's you. So, I mean, I can hear.
Similar question to the last one, but like, was there, I guess, like joy or just like enjoyment to be found in like kind of a year where it was a bit more of a developmental year, like kind of a bit more of a teaching year, so with the amount of young guys that was on the team?
Well, I think joy is a little strong, Stephen. I wouldn't go that far, but I think there was a lot of angst and there was some frustration as well. But I also believe that we did get to a point where we got pretty focused and locked in, and teaching mode and learning mode and enjoyable, right? I think it's always good to seem like there was always someone or something to say, hey, there we're making some progress. And I still say that, I mean, even down to 6 guys, 7 guys, these last 6 guys yesterday, there was still a feel of togetherness and really trying to execute and everybody trying to play well and some connection and some sense of humor and some enjoyment and that. So I think that's a good, I don't know. It was enjoyable. It was a good feeling, even though that losses never feel very good. And I didn't feel tremendously good when it ended yesterday because it's just like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird when you're in these jobs and everything comes to such a screeching halt. You're in such a mode all the time to grab the next scouting report and they load up the next film and you're checking to see what's going on and when we're leaving and what's next and when the next all that stuff comes to such a screeching halt when it's moving at such a fast pace. So there is always a little bit of a kind of a, but I don't know. I got a good night's sleep last night. I'm feeling okay today that it's wrapped up and probably was time to wrap it up this year.
That's great. That's great, Nick.
Yep.
Once again, then thank you for all your time this year and enjoy your summer while you still have it.
Okay. Thanks, Steven. Appreciate it.
All right, Coach, we're going to move overseas and say hello to Takeshi Shabada in Japan.
Hello, Coach.
Hi, Takeshi.
Hello. Thank you for your time, and thank you for all for during all of this season.
No problem.
It's been really wonderful to be able to talk with you a lot. And my question is, it's again about Yuta Watanabe. So as you watched him grow and evolve from the Exhibit 10 to two-way to the standard contract, what was the one word that you can describe his evolution from, just a free agent to the standard NBA player?
I would say deserving. He deserved it, right? He worked continually. He's really got a tremendous attitude. I think it was a bit of a surprise and long shot. I think we brought him in and had him in kind of one of our mini camps, and he made it out of that and he made it to the training camp and he made it through that. And, so he kept, but he deserved it. He's as you know, he's a really good person, tremendously hard worker. He really loves the game. And he made progress. He needs to continue to make progress and he needs to just do a couple things I think we can help him with, that he can be more of a factor or continue to be more of a factor and keep on growing. If he can make 3 more steps forward next year, we'll be in business, Takeshi. Made 3 big jumps this year. If we can do that again next year, we'll be in business. Yep.
So thank you so much again, and I hope to see you in Tokyo.
I hope so too. If we make it, you're gonna be the first person I call.
Okay, get right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Next question goes to Akiko from the Kyoto News in Japan.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, Akiko.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for everything this season.
No problem.
And if you already had an exit meeting with Yuta, what was discussed and what do you want him to improve for next season?
Yeah, I think there's always multiple areas for improvement, Akiko. But the biggest thing I think that he could do to help us is we just need that shooting to be like go from good to kind of scary, right? We need his kind of all around offensive movement and play and handling and his defensive hustle and matchup flexibility. But I'd really love it if teams decided they were gonna, send more help to Siakam and Anunoby and Van Fleet and those guys and Lowry and Trent and some of those guys that when it came down that Utah's really make them pay with 3 points, right? That it's just like they'll be almost wondering if they should help off him that much. So I think that the mechanics and stuff are there. as you know, a lot of this stuff is mental. Can you just envision yourself being a 40 to 45% 3-point shooter, and then can you put the work in, speed up the footwork and the release a little bit? Those are the kind of things we're talking about, Akiko.
Thank you very much, and
Thank
thanks.
you. Yeah.
Thanks again. I appreciate it.
I'll see you in Tokyo too.
Yes, thank you very much.
Next question goes to Raphael with Radio Canada.
Hi, Coach. I'm wondering, with the past 2 summers of free agency, with Kawhi departing and then Serge and Mark, if you learned anything on how to deal with, the uncertainty, especially of this year with Masai and Kyle, most importantly, they were 2, some might say, central pieces to the success that the team has had in the past few years.
Well, I think, I think it's always, an uncertain business, right? That's the biggest thing that you learn is it's, I don't think there's any holes or flaws in our recruiting process or our mindset or what we have to offer or any of those kind of things. And we also understand how competitive it is. when you got really good players, a lot of teams want to go after those guys, right? And sometimes it's you win some and you lose some. So I think that continue to work really hard, continue to recruit very hard, continue to offer. I mean, our organization's as first class as it comes, Raphael, right? And I think you're right. Masai and Bobby and his crew, work very hard. They're very good. They've got an incredible track record, and we need to have a good summer.
All right, 4 more questions for you, Coach. Coming down the home stretch. First one goes to Aaron Rose from SI.com.
Hey, Nick. As everyone else has said, thank you very much for being patient with us this season. I want to ask you to talk about your boss, which might be a little awkward, but you've mentioned that you enjoy working with Masai. What are the characteristics that you see in him that make him a good leader? And if he does leave, you'd like to see the next person have? What has made him so successful?
Well, I'm not going to talk about any next person, but I will talk about Masai. I mean, listen, he's certainly well connected, Aaron. He's super competitive. He thinks and talks in terms of championships. Extremely hard worker, and we get along great. Like, we're able to sit down and have very frank and honest discussions, and I think we're both kind of similar in the mindset of, like I can tell him this is what I see a championship roster looking like, and he can tell me, and he can tell me, we really can hash it out good. So like I said, I really, really enjoy working with him. We have really productive meetings and conversations. It's hardly, I can't really think of ever being uncomfortable, which isn't that typical in any, employer-employee relationship, I don't think, all the time, especially in sports and especially in coaching. So there you go.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks for a great season. For us, at least.
You're welcome.
Next question goes to William Liu from Yahoo Sports Canada.
Hello, Coach. It's early, man. What do you want?
I saw that, William. I saw you stretching out, man.
My bad. I should have turned my camera off.
Okay, man.
I wanted to ask you about your center position. Obviously, that was like such a up and down kind of year for that position. At one point, you had the 2 centers to start, but then you guys shifted to like no centers in the starting 5. And then, of course, you got Kem and Freddie at the end. How do you feel do you feel more comfortable with the center position after sort of the season went on? And are you sort of confident in Kem and Freddie as like a future pairing moving forward?
Well, that was a good question. There was a lot going on at that position this year. I think you covered it all. But listen, I think Kem and Freddie both played pretty well, right? I think there's some growth there for both of them, but I mean, the biggest thing that I liked, William, was I thought their ability to be up defensively and then be back, right? So there's times when you got to be on high alert for great shooters coming off of screens. Now, they didn't do it perfectly every time. They'd miss one or two or some, but everybody kind of does that. But what they did do most of the time was when they did miss them, and when we remind them at a timeout, they wouldn't miss any for the rest of the game. So I thought it was interesting, even like in yesterday's game, we had the three centers playing together and we were switching 1 through 5. So it was interesting to see him have to go out, especially Freddie. I thought Freddie was, he's on, I don't know, I can't really remember exactly, but I think he was on like matched up on Holiday. That was his matchup coming down the floor, and he just went out there and guarded him like he was a wing player and chased him around. And I didn't really notice any problems there. So again, I think that impressed me the most, that they could get, because that's important. I think there's going to be times late in games or in fourth quarters where you're going to have to do some switching. And that puts those guys on really good players. And then can they go out there and have an attitude or a mindset that this just isn't going to be a blow by or a wide open three. They can go out and cover some things, and then they can execute the scheme that's put in. And then, like I said, I would have probably liked them to take a lot more swings at shots. They did block a good number and change and alter some, but I think they both have the ability to really kind of let loose a little bit and start swatting shots a little more. So I feel pretty good about who they are and their development. I'm not all the way there yet, but they need to have good summers and they need to have good fall. And I think with our development people and our coaching staff, they will. I see tremendous upside in both of them. I think Kem shows you flashes of all kinds of stuff, right? And then again, can we get some of those flashes to be a little more frequent, just drives to the basket, offensive rebounds that turn into dunks, and that kind of stuff is like, you're like, man, wow, Kem, where did that come from? Well, we need that to be part of who he is rather than flashes, and I think we can see more of that. And I think Freddie does everything well right now but score. But even that, we asked him to kind of hold some more composure, be patient, use his body, use pump fakes, and he started doing some of that. And he doesn't look like he's totally out of sorts down there. He just needs some confidence that we encourage him to do it. He needs some reps. And I think you'll see him continue to build that part of his game.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Thanks for the insight.
Thanks.
2 more for you, Coach. First one goes to Lewis from Raptors Republic.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Lewis.
We talked a lot about the negatives this year. On the plus side, though, when Kyle, Fred, OG, and Pascal were playing, you guys had about the same net rating as you did the year before. Really, really good net rating. Obviously, there's, the question marks. Kyle's a free agent, but does that alone, that one number, make you really optimistic, confident going into next season?
Well, I think, Lewis, I think that group has had a lot of good time together, spanning over a few years. I think the 1-loss record and stuff even indicated that. So yeah, I think that's core of our team. How does that team look with, we're still the rest of the core, obviously wasn't here to start the year, right? And then you can list all those negatives you want to about those minutes probably, and those games were probably too few and far between with those 4 guys together. But yeah, I think, listen, Lewis, I think we all know we're not a million miles away here, even though it feels like finishing where we finished. You look up and you say, oh my gosh, how are we going to I think even with half our roster here late in the year, we were giving all the best teams in the league everything they wanted, and they were trying, right? They weren't just coasting. They were trying, and we were right there in a lot of those games. So I think that's a good indication as well that we're okay. Shore up a few places. Hopefully, we get a little healthier next year and get ready to rock and roll.
Thanks so much, Coach, for the whole year. And like everyone said, have an amazing offseason.
Thanks, Louis. Appreciate it, man.
Final question goes to Vivek Jacob from Complex Canada.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah,
based on our conversation yesterday, just, the random variables that might be at play and inflating offenses a little bit, how do you properly evaluate your defense and maybe even, those random variables at play versus maybe needing to stay ahead of things and, have other teams maybe caught on a little bit to what you guys are doing?
Well, I think I think that we have the capability to play defense the way we want to, Vivek, and that is it's not easy to play against. I think our team's a little better at zone offense. Yeah, well, it's because everybody in the league's playing zone defense now, right? I think forces coaches to put more schemes in, and they get more reps against it, and they see it. But that's okay. I think that the core of our foundational principles and what we do looks really strong to me, as long as we can get our main guys out there to do it and execute it. I feel really good about being, and it is one of my goals, obviously, to be a outstanding defensive team.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Enjoy your summer.
Okay, thanks, Phil.
Nick, thank you for everything.
Okay, how do we end this one? Enjoy the break, everybody.
Say enjoy the sunshine today.
Enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you probably middle of June for Canada.